There are at least 3 ways to build any EDH deck. Strong, fun,
and mean.
Let's talk about the strong, fun, and mean ways that I would build Kenrith, the Returned King in EDH. The video starts right now. Special thanks to our Patreon supporters who power our channel. Check out our Patreon for monthly giveaways, exclusive content, and even a starring role in our fan fight series. Link in the description below. Hello and welcome to the day. Thank you for spending your time with us. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. I am Joel. We're going to talk about the 3 ways I would build Kenrith, the Returned King in EDH. But first, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button down there, I would really appreciate it. Let's talk about Kenrith himself. So this is what we've got with old Kenny the Returned King. A white and 4 other for a legendary human noble. 1 red, all creatures get trample and haste until end of turn. A green and 1, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature. A white and 2, put 5 life onto your life total. A blue and 3, target player draws a card. And a black and 4, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under its control. Make sure if you are playing this deck that you see that says under its owner's control. That's not a way to steal a zombie over to your battlefield. I would build Kenny 3 ways. Strong would be legendary sub-theme. Fun for me would be a knight tribal sort of Eldraine sub-theme. And then mean for me would be a politics pillow fort. Politics pillow fort. That's harder to say than it should be. Let's talk about strong. So first up with strong, I'm going to build a legendary sub-theme into this, and that'll show itself more as we go through the list of cards. But first I want to run Biomancer's Familiar, because activated abilities of creatures you control cost 2 less to activate. You'll remember if we were looking at Kenny, each of those activated abilities, if we can make them less at all, that means that we can use them more per turn, and we're going to get more value off of Kenny. That's really the only reason to run the Biomancer's Familiar. The rest of it, tap this target, the next time target creature adapts this turn, and it adapts as though it had no +1/+1 counters. We're not even going to look at that. We don't even worry about that. This is a 2 cost, 1 blue, 1 green, mutant creature that says activated abilities cost 2 less to activate. That's the only reason we have it in here. Training Grounds. Here's redundancy on that effect. The best thing you can have for your EDH strategy is redundancy, and that's what Training Grounds is. 1 blue enchantment, activated abilities of creatures you control cost 2 less to activate. Done. Simple to understand. We definitely want that in this deck. So let's get into the legendary theme. Captain Sisay. Tap, search your library for a legend or legendary card, reveal that card, put it into your hand. Toolbox. 1 white, 1 green, 2 other for this creature legend. Let's go and get anything we need. Any little toolbox creature that we can build into this deck. Sisay is going to let us get there. Here's another Sisay. Weatherlight Captain. Gets +1/+1 for each legendary, so this could be a finisher for us for 1 white, 2 other. But pay 1 of each color. Search your library for a legendary permanent card with converted mana cost less than Sisay's power. Put that onto the battlefield, search your library. Done. We're not even going to go get it and put it into our hand. We're going to go get it and put it onto the battlefield. This Weatherlight Captain knows how to take care of business. Let's take advantage of the fact that we're going to be playing a lot of legendary permanents, and we'll play Urza's Ruinous Blast. Let's destroy everything that's not legendary. We're assuming this is going to wipe most of, if not all, of each opponent's board, and is going to leave us in a very good position because most of our creatures that we want to run are going to be legendary. Let's also return them from the graveyard. Primeval's Glorious Rebirth. 1 black, 1 white, 5 other. Return all legendary permanent cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Straight up. Kenny dies, leave him in the graveyard. Your Sisay and everything that she got dies, leave it in the graveyard. Cast Primeval's Glorious Rebirth. Bing, bang, boom. All your stuff is back right onto the graveyard. Battlefield from the graveyard. Jorah. Weatherlight Captain. Another captain of the Weatherlight. Whenever you cast a historic spell, which legendaries count for this, draw a card. So this is just going to be velocity. This is going to be cantripping every legendary you play and getting a card back into your hand. Kethis the Hidden Hand. More tricks. We got Abzan colors. Legendary spells you cast 1 less. Period. Exile 2 legendary cards from your graveyard until end of turn. Each legendary card in your graveyard gains you can play this from your graveyard. More return, more redundancy, more longevity in this deck. That's what we want. We're going to need mana to do all this. As you can see, most of those creature cards that I showed you, most of all the cards I've showed you, have had a lot of colored mana necessary to cast them. So we're going to need things like Bird of Paradise to ramp us up to Kenny and be able to cast some of the other stuff in our deck, along with cards like Golos that for 5 of any color, we're going to be able to play it and go get whatever land we need. If we just need Command Tower, go get it. If you need something that's going to make more colors of mana, Cascading Cataracts, whatever that card is, something like that. Or if you need a card that's going to like hose something else that's hosing you, Field of Ruin, things like this. Go play Golos, go get whatever land you need. Plus we get the benefit of, if we can get all of colors 5 plus 2, exile the top 3 cards of your library, and you can cast them without paying their mana cost. That would be huge, especially in this deck. And then Chromatic Lantern, why not? This is definitely a deck that needs something like this. It's definitely the right deck to play this in, being a 5-color deck, so we need to run Chromatic Lantern. All of our lands are going to tap for any color, plus Chromatic Lantern is going to tap for any color. That's the basis of how I would build my strong legendary strategy. Let's look at a fun strategy with Night Tribal and Eldraine theme. If we're running Kenny and his Circle of Loyal Knights, then we definitely need to be running the Circle of Loyalty. 1 less for each knight you control. Creatures you control get +1/+1 of an anthem. Whenever you cast a legendary spell, create a 2/2 knight. Plus, for 4 mana, we can tap it and create a 2/2 knight with Vigi. This is exactly how we're going to build this deck. Knights, kind of a go-wide strategy. Kenny and his Royal Court. We need cards like this to give our deck the longevity that it needs. 1 black, 1 white for Wintermoor Commander. A death touching, toughness is equal to the number of knights you control. Whenever it attacks another target knight you control, gains indestructible until end of turn. So they're incentivized not to block it if we're swinging. They're incentivized not to swing at us if it can block, because honestly, this creature could get enormous as far as a blocker goes. Huge butt eventually, plus the death touch in tow, you're good to go. Plus, if you're swinging with this and another knight, you got indestructible on the other night. That's just fantastic. Inspiring Veteran. Here's just an anthem for all of our creatures in the plethora of all the anthems that there are. Inspiring Veteran's fantastic because it's 2 mana, gives you another knight that can swing or block or whatever you need at that time, plus it's going to anthem all your other knights up. Kenny's Royal Court is growing very quickly. Let's grow it even further with Worthy Knight. Whenever you cast a knight, put a 1/1 human onto the battlefield. Let's go wide. We can put some other anthems in here, Honor the Pure, things like that. Give all of our creatures +1/+1, do that over and over again, and suddenly we got a huge, wide army that no opponent is going to be able to stop. Acclaimed Contender. When it enters the battlefield, if you control another knight, look at the top 5, get a knight, get an aura, get an equipment. Run Embercleave in here. This is the kind of card that's going to help you go get it. It's going to count towards your knights, it's going to help you with velocity and keep cards in your hand as you're casting your knights, because overall, the CMC of this deck average should be pretty low, because you want to play stuff onto the battlefield. You want to keep your hand full and just keep going wide. You need to rebuild after board wipes and such. Contender's going to help you do that. We're going Eldraine themed. We're going King and Queen and their court themed. We definitely need a Royal Assassin, okay? Kenny is not always on the up and up. Sometimes old Kenny has to get a little thing done in the shadows, and that's what Royal Assassin's going to do for us. Sure, you want to swing at us with any creature? Go ahead. Tap, destroy target creature. Destroy target tap creature. Whoops, our Royal Assassin got you. Kenny ordered your execution, and it was done. Ariel, Knight of Windgrace. This is a legendary, so it's going to help with that. It's a knight, so it's going to help with that. It creates knights, plus it lets us repeatedly remove things based on how many X untapped knights that we have on the battlefield. I love Ariel. This one's going to fit perfectly. Every king needs his queen. Marchesa may not be his queen, but I know that they send missives to each other with pigeons, little notes tied on their legs. Queen Marchesa, death touching haster, enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. Perfect. Now Kenny's a king, we're a king, everybody gets to be a king. At the beginning of your upkeep, if your opponent is the monarch, put a 1/1 black assassin creature token. Here's one that'll deal in the shadows with death touch and haste onto the battlefield. Go try and get that monarch status back if you lose it. Here's another queen that Kenny talks to on the regular, Wasitora Nekuro Queen. That's a mouthful. Jund +2, flying trample 5/4. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player sacks a creature, unless they can't, in which case we create a 3/3 black, red, green cat dragon creature token with flying onto the battlefield. Love this one. Definitely fits the royalty theme. If we're running Kenny in an Eldraine themed build, we definitely need to run the Royal Scions, because that's the kids. +1, draw a card, discard a card. +1, target creature gets +2/+0, gains first strike and trample until end of turn. -8, draw 4. Perfect. 3 mana planeswalker that's going to give you repeated value and is not hugely incentivized for your opponents to kill it because it just does a little something. This is the kind of planeswalker that can prove to be an absolute problem for them because nobody's going to value it as a target highly enough. Those are the lines of thinking that I would definitely play a fun Eldrained knightly court theme version of this. Let's talk about my mean version, which would be King Kenny's Politics and his Pillow Fort. Pillow Fort starts with Ghostly Prison. Bing, bang, boom. I would advise you get this armor, or this art, because it looks like a castle that might be in King Kenny's, and so it stays on theme with that. You know it, you love it. 1 white, 2 other. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature attacking you. Let's also double down on effects like this. Let's play Sphere of Safety. Creatures can't attack you unless they pay X for each of those creatures, where X is the number of enchantments you control. Fine. Once we start stacking these abilities, they're going to have a harder and harder time to attack us with anything. Okay, Windborn Muse, we can stack it up even further. Creatures can't attack you unless they pay 2 for each creature attacking you. That's it on a creature. So we've got it across enchantments, we've got it across creatures. We can definitely do a lot of pillow forting with cards like that. So find cards like that if you want to fill up a pillow fort build. Plea for Power. This gets into our politics. Now, Kenrith is the king. The king has to deal with the politics. I feel like this is a mean, absolutely flavorful build for this commander. Plea for Power. Will of the Council. Starting with you, each player gets votes for time or knowledge. If time gets more votes, take an extra turn. If knowledge gets more votes or the vote is tied, draw 3 cards. Love it. Political. Everybody gets to decide what happens together. 2 black, 4 other for capital punishment. This would definitely happen in the kingdom. Council's Dilemma. Starting with you, each player votes for death or taxes. Each opponent sacks a creature for each death vote and discards a card for each taxes vote. So, period. The things are happening. There are bad things happening, and they can't stop that. Unfortunately, we're going to see creatures die. We're going to see cards discarded. And fortunately for us, it doesn't hit us. It says each opponent sacks a creature for each death vote and discards a card for each taxes vote. Virtue's Maneuver. Here we go. Here's politics, but a different way. For each player, choose friend or foe. Each friend returns a creature card from their graveyard to their hand. Each foe sacks a creature they control. So maybe we can be like, hey, do you want to help? You want to help King Kenny rule the Eldraine court? Come on over. Have that creature out of your graveyard. That's fine. Just attack them. Don't attack me. I've got a pillow fort built anyway. You don't want to come this way. Attack our opponents. We'll help our opponents finish each other off. And if we're dealing with King Kenny's politics, we definitely need to hire a ballot broker. That's going to give us an additional vote anytime we vote. So it's definitely going to tip the scales in our favor a little bit. Coercive Portal is one of my favorite Will of the Council cards. Look at this. At the beginning of your upkeep, starting with you, each player votes for Carnage or Homage. If Carnage gets more votes, sacrifice Coercive Portal and destroy all non-land permanents. If Homage gets more votes or the vote is tied, draw a card. So, everybody has to decide together. Do we give King Kenny an extra card at the beginning of every turn, or do we let everything get destroyed? I love Coercive Portal. I actually want to play this in more decks. Xantcha, Sleeper Agent. We definitely need one of these in the kingdom. Enters the battlefield, an opponent of your choice gains control of it. Xantcha has to attack and can't attack us or our planeswalkers. And we have the ability at the bottom to pay 3. Xantcha's controller loses 2 life and you draw a card. Any player can activate that, so we can start tapping into our Sleeper Agent for some sleeper knowledge. So can our opponents, and we can help burn one of our opponents down. Now look, we can play cards like this in this deck because, again, we're political. We don't mind giving somebody 3 2/2s. You can have them. That'll help you build up your little kingdom. Just attack them. Don't attack me. Flying Hastings 6/6 for 5. When it comes into play, put 3 2/2s with First Strike onto the battlefield under an opponent's control. So we give an opponent a little bit of a boon, and we're like, you know what? You can have these. Please just attack our opponents, alright? This is a politics game. More like that. Hunted Phantasm. 4/6 unblockable, so we're just going to get to do 4 to somebody every single turn. And one of our opponents is going to get 5 1/1s. Wherever it makes the most political sense for you, give those 5 1/1 goblins to that player. They'll help you out. Hopefully, I guess, that is the game plan. You can never really count on politics too much. Those are the 3 ways that I would build Kenny. Strong, fun, and mean. Let me know how you build your Kenrith the Returned King deck. It's a great commander because you've got access to all 5 colors, and so your strategies can really be varied. If you like the video and you want to see more like this, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button down there. It would really help us out. If you want to support us further, we've got a Patreon. The link is down in the description below. We do monthly giveaways over there, so go check that out and see if you're a good fit. And if you want to hang out with us, we're streaming most Tuesday and Thursday evenings over on Twitch. If there's a commander that you would like me to build 3 ways, let me know in the comments below and we'll do a video of it. Appreciate it. We'll catch you later.